11Alive News at 4 p.m. starts now.
We've learned the teenager who was killed at this DeKalb County apartment complex last night was the brother of an airman killed by a Florida sheriff's deputy earlier this year. What family friends are telling us straight ahead.
And we are under a red alert as a truck fire that occurred on I-675 hours ago continues to cause headaches for drivers there on the 675 southbound lanes. We'll help you get around it.
And I'm tracking a couple of storms out there this afternoon, but also another weather impact alert for tomorrow for dangerous heat for the first day of school.
And good afternoon and welcome to 11Alive News at 4. I'm Jonathan Martin.
And I'm Jennifer Bellamy. From days of rain to dangerous heat with feels-like temperatures in the triple digits.
That's right. The heat is exactly why we are now issuing a weather impact alert here at 11Alive. So let's start things off with our meteorologist, Melissa Nord.
Yeah, and that dangerous heat's actually going to be building as we get into tomorrow. And it is the first day of school. Atlanta Public Schools, Cobb. We've got Clayton County heading back tomorrow as well. So another weather impact alert for tomorrow. It's the combination of the heat and humidity combined that's going to make it feel like it is up to about 108 degrees tomorrow afternoon. So heat advisory will be in effect for all the metro area from 10 o'clock tomorrow until 9 o'clock tomorrow evening. But with all that heat and humidity building each afternoon, this also helps to spark off a couple of showers and thunderstorms. And right now I'm tracking a severe thunderstorm down in Butts and Henry County. This warning is going to go until 4:30 this afternoon. The storm right now just east of Locust Grove. This is moving through Butts County and pushing east at about 20 miles per hour. So this will be moving in towards Flovilla here at about the next 20 to 25 minutes when we'll see that heaviest rain moving in. But it's along the leading edge where we could also see some strong gusty winds. Now further up this line, we've got some more areas of really heavy rain. Look at all these cloud to ground lightning strikes as well. This is right over central Henry County. In fact, you can see off in the distance our camera at Atlanta Motor Speedway in Hampton looking into that strong thunderstorm with heavy rainfall and also some cloud to ground lightning visible over the last 5 minutes, and that camera will travel further back to the north and west along that line. More areas with some heavy rainfall and some lightning in northern Fayette County and also out into southern Fulton County. Couple little downpours, but for the moment we are dry here in the city of Atlanta. It's hot and humid. If you're not seeing thunderstorms, the current feels like temperature in Atlanta. We had some rain cooled air over the airport. It only feels like 90, but 104 in Duluth. Athens is 101 and currently feels like 99 degrees in Gainesville. Again, heat advisory tomorrow. I'm going to walk you through that forecast hour by hour for the heat index for those little ones heading back to school tomorrow. That's ahead in just a couple minutes, guys.
Melissa, thank you so much. Well, after last night's storm, Georgia Power spent much of the day repairing down power lines and also restoring service. 11Alive's Bobeth Yates has been talking with neighbors impacted today. She's live for us in Midtown. Bobeth.
Well, Jonathan, people we spoke to were thankful that crews were out making repairs. For some customers, they lost service around 7 p.m. on Tuesday, and then Wednesday morning, they still did not have power. Now, crews spent the day cutting and cleaning up down trees, some of which fell on power lines, causing massive outages after the storms ripped through the area Tuesday evening and into the overnight hours. According to Georgia Power, at one point, more than 140,000 customers statewide did not have service, many of them right here in Metro Atlanta. But the numbers have dropped significantly this afternoon. We found crews on Woodward Way in Buckhead and on Collier Ridge Drive in Southwest Atlanta working to get service restored. And we spoke to those impacted. Take a listen as a customer describes this entire ordeal.
I expected some rain, but it was only for about 10 minutes and it wasn't heavy. So it just came and went. And, you know, as soon as the lights went down, I'm noticing on right here on Baker Ridge that all the lights were lit and everything from Collier was, you know, not. So far, Georgia Power came by and they saved the day.
As of noon, Georgia Power says they had restored 135,000 customers that were without service, and they continue right now as we speak to restore service to those who are still being impacted. Sending it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Beth, before you go, I do want to ask you, you talked about Georgia Power working to get things back to normal, but did they give any indication of why things were so bad?
Well, you know, this is one of the things they say they have been dealing with for a while. They say much of it is due to downed trees and branches that fall on power lines. They say this is an opportunity to remind customers that they need to not plant trees underneath power lines, and if there's a tree already there, work to cut them back, because if they don't, things like this can happen periodically. Live in Midtown, Bobeth Yates, 11Alive News.
All right, Bobeth, and don't forget you can take the 11Alive weather impact forecast with you wherever you go. Just download the 11Alive app by scanning the QR code right there on your screen. Now for our first check of traffic, here's Andrew Wilson.
And Jonathan, we have a red alert here for this afternoon. A big slowdown on I-675. They had all the lanes closed, but thankfully they have one lane open there on I-675 southbound now as they continue to try to clean things up. This was a truck fire that shut down I-675 hours ago, just before Rex Road. Let's take a closer look at where it is here in just a moment, but I want you to try to move around this by taking I-285 down to I-75. I know it seems like a big go around here, but you're going to see why here. Right here. We have a big slowdown because, again, the emergency crews keep having to shut actually this left lane down that they did have open. Looks like they've shut it down again. No traffic going through there. And they are trying to clean up this 18-wheeler that had caught on fire, trying to get all that debris there into that dump truck and so they can get it pulled away. This is going to take a while. So, again, try to take 285 down 75, and we'll continue to try to get you around this and some of these other traffic incidents that we're tracking around the region.
All right, we'll see you soon, Andrew. Thanks so much. We'll also in the news today, a mother and her child are dead tonight after a house fire overnight in the city of South Fulton.
And now the fire department is investigating. Let's get you out to 11Alive's Molly Oak. She's live tonight outside of that home on Connell Road. Molly, what have you learned so far from the police, from the fire department?
Good evening, guys. South Fulton Fire confirmed to me that 2 people, a young woman and her baby, died in this fire. They also told me that 2 pets died as well. I want you to take a look at the video of this home that we have. The fire department says it happened a little after midnight when crews were on the way. They were told there could be multiple people trapped inside. The Assistant Fire Chief of Operations says once crews arrived, they went on the defensive, saying the house is already 50% in flames. He says once the fire was out, they did a primary and secondary search. He says that's when they found the bodies of a young woman and her baby. News that neighbors say rocked the community.
Oh gosh. It was very traumatizing. Yeah. It was that's when we were very concerned. We was praying that we was hoping that she was not in that house. Yeah. Until they found her. When they confirmed it. Yeah. It impacted us in a way I can't describe to you.
The fire department tells me it is still investigating the cause. Councilwoman Natasha Williams-Brown was also emotional while out here, calling this a devastating fire. She says it's her understanding the baby was just 3 months old. She added they're also working to get mental health resources for the residents who are out here who are struggling with this news. Again, neighbors that we talked to said this is a tight-knit community. They said that when they saw the flames, they were out here for hours trying to help in any way they could. Reporting live in South Fulton, Molly Oak, 11Alive News.
All right. Well, now to a developing story. DeKalb County police are investigating the death of a 16-year-old boy killed overnight at an apartment complex in DeKalb County. Family confirming to 11Alive today that the teen killed is the younger brother of Roger Fortson, the airman you might remember who was killed by a sheriff's deputy in Florida earlier this year. 11Alive's Karis Belger is in DeKalb County today where she talked with friends of the Fortson family.
Kiara Moore tells me her younger brother was best friends with Andre Fortson, and she tells me she's heartbroken that Fortson's family has to deal with another loss. Here are the details we've gotten so far. DeKalb County police say they were called to the Summit Hill Apartments on Boulder Crest Road around 9:50 Tuesday night and found the body of the teenager with a gunshot wound in the breezeway. Kiara Moore says she used to live in the complex. Her mother called her very early this morning to tell her about the shooting. She says she became close with Andre because of his relationship with her younger brother and even sometimes took the teen to school. She says she hopes the community can come together after this tragedy to address concerns about gun violence.
It been on my mind heavy all night that Andre was shot because it don't seem real, and I just don't want to believe that it was him.
We were at the funeral for U.S. Airman Roger Fortson here in DeKalb County this past May after he was shot and killed by a deputy in Florida. During that funeral, Andre Fortson sat in the front row and stood on stage as his brother was remembered. DeKalb police haven't released any additional information on the shooting from last night that led to Andre's death. I was with Moore earlier today when she was on the phone with her brother. She says he is devastated and that this is a loss the entire community is feeling. In DeKalb County, I'm Karis Belger, 11Alive News.
Well, the family of a man who was stabbed to death while in custody at the Fulton County Jail has announced plans to file a lawsuit. Dino Walker died in September of 2022 after being stabbed multiple times. His family and lawyers allege the detention officer assigned to his floor left his post for more than an hour. The family claims the county jail failed to protect Walker, and they're now suing the county, the sheriff, and a deputy.
All right, well, today, defense attorneys in the YSL RICO trial expressing outrage over a second private meeting where the case was discussed without them. They allege the comments made behind their back are disparaging and inappropriate and possible grounds for a mistrial. 11Alive's Grace King joins us live tonight from the Fulton County Courthouse. I know, Grace, you have been following this case very closely over the last several months. Why could this new transcript be a problem?
Well, there are several portions of it that Judge Paige Whitaker said she'd be, quote, a little hot under the collar about if she were still a practicing attorney. She's going to take that into consideration as she rules on this final outstanding mistrial motion.
What do I say? I don't know. Obviously, I don't know what to say right now either.
On Wednesday, revelations of a new ex parte meeting sparking disappointment and outrage in the courtroom.
This is gross. This is disgusting. But it's all starting to make sense.
Attorney Max Shart expressing his frustration over the contents of this transcript. In it, now recused Judge Ural Glanville asked the state what they want him to do and what they think he can do. Assistant District Attorney Adrian Love responded, saying that is the exercise, that is the homework for tonight.
Steam's been coming off my bald head all night. Nothing about this is okay.
He and attorney Doug Weinstein highlighted portions they felt were inappropriate, like a line referring to outside agitators and everybody else trying to influence the case.
Myself and my fellow outside agitators over here, I assume that they are upset as well.
I don't think, honestly, I don't think that reference was to anybody who is a member of the bar.
The state, after listening to these allegations, raised concerns about professionalism in the courtroom.
Being called co-conspirators is not something that I would expect to have heard, no more than I would expect to level a assertion that Mr. Shart is a defendant.
Whitaker asked everyone to take a deep breath as she considers this transcript as part of a motion for a mistrial.
If I determine that that there was coercion that is unconstitutional or structural error, then I will grant a mistrial.
And Judge Whitaker spent at least one of her breaks today reading through case law and that transcript so she can be prepared to rule on the question of a mistrial as soon as possible. Live in downtown Atlanta, Grace King, 11Alive News.
Grace, thank you. A hearing tomorrow is set to decide the fate of a Buckhead nightclub where two people were shot and killed on Mother's Day. The owner of the 1145 Lounge in the city of Atlanta will be in a Fulton County Superior Court tomorrow, where a judge could decide whether or not the Buckhead Club will be shut down. 11Alive's Erica Murphy is speaking with the family of one of the people who lost their lives and a local attorney ahead of that hearing.
21-year-old Mari Creighton and 20-year-old Nakiris Ridley were killed in the shooting at the 1145 Lounge on Mother's Day. Attorney Daryl Cohen thinks the public safety will be the most compelling reason for the judge to grant the city's request.
To allow it to remain open is a death warrant in advance for the next person or persons who go in there as patrons.
Thursday's hearing was originally scheduled for June in Fulton County Superior Court. The judge issued a temporary restraining order to keep the business from opening its doors for 60 days and pushed back the hearing.
I always talk to Mari about being safe and be aware of her surroundings. It never crossed my mind to give her warnings that someone might be in the club with a gun.
Tracy Eason is Mari Creighton's mom. She says it never occurred to her that going to a club would claim her baby girl's life.
You know, if they were still allowed to operate for those 60 days, I'm sure I would be, outraged. So I just hope for a good outcome, tomorrow. I just hate it was at the expense of my daughter's life.
The hearing is slated to take place Thursday morning at 9:30 in Judge Rachel Carnasal's courtroom. Cohen advises the judgment could be closure or another option.
Or the judge could suspend their business license for a period of time and then make them reapply at a later date. There are any number of things a judge could do.
In addition to the city's complaint, both families of the victims killed at the club filed lawsuits citing negligence and what they call a failure on the part of the owners to protect customers from harm. We will be inside the courtroom tomorrow and will bring you the results of that hearing. Reporting from Atlanta, Erica Murphy, 11Alive News.
A man is in jail this afternoon after being accused of trying to rob a Chick-fil-A in Stone Mountain. And you might wonder what stopped him. A Chick-fil-A delivery driver. Look at this video here tonight. In the restaurant surveillance video, you can see the suspect standing right there in the doorway, pointing a gun at the employee, then dragging him inside the multi-purpose room there. The employee fights back, and the suspect then drops the gun. The fight goes on for several minutes until the suspect gets away through the back door. Apparently, the fight started after the suspect demanded the combination to the restaurant safe, but the employee told him he did not know it. That's when he apparently pulled out a gun. Now, police were able to take that suspect into custody today. He's facing several charges, including armed robbery and aggravated assault.
Wow, scary moments there. Well, this election, candidates will be trying to woo young voters, a group that often sits out elections in numbers greater than the rest of the electorate. 11 Alive's Doug Richards is live in Midtown with more on what they want.
Yeah, young voters may be more impacted by the economy than voters who are a little bit older, particularly young adults who are trying to get into the housing market. Atlanta's housing market is a juggernaut, great for sellers and real estate agents, less great for would-be first-time buyers like 27-year-old Tom Burke.
To buy my own home, man, so far in my life it seems like an unpursuable goal, in a sense that it's just gone through the roof.
Real estate tracking sites say the median price of homes in the Atlanta area is now about $420,000, up by about $20,000 over last year, an increase of about 5%, which is a bit higher than the rate of inflation. As the pandemic cooled off, inflation soared worldwide. Republicans blame Democrat Joe Biden. Kamala Harris vowed to fight it in her Atlanta visit Tuesday.
Inflation is down and wages are up. Prices are still too high. You know it and I know it.
Harris said young people need to be able to build wealth and buy homes. Republicans, including Donald Trump, agree on the goal while blaming Democrats for the problem. It's an issue and a demographic that could define the election, says Georgia Republican Chairman Josh McCoon.
Voters that in that 18 to 30 demographic, the last 3.5 years have not been very good for people that are starting out looking to buy that first home or start a family.
27-year-old Tom Burke told us that he thinks that the housing problem, price problem, is exacerbated by speculators and by outfits like Airbnb. And he said that in his opinion, it's not caused by any one particular political party. We are live in Midtown tonight. Back to you.
All right, Doug, thank you so much. 11 Alive is keeping you up to date with everything happening on the campaign trail. All you have to do is head over to our website, 11alive.com, and click on the Politics tab.
Well, tonight we are hearing from the state school superintendent on his decision to not recommend adding an advanced placement African American studies course to the state's curriculum offerings during the upcoming school year. In a statement, State Superintendent Richard Wood says he did not recommend the course because it would break the law. He says different parts of the curriculum are concerning, but specifically points to the section on intersectionality. Now, Wood says the section violates Georgia's divisive concepts law by not providing opposing views on that concept and other topics in the course.
All right, let's get you back to your forecast in that 11Alive weather impact alert with our meteorologist, Melissa Nord.
Yeah, and it's really for heat that's going to last for several hours again tomorrow, but more imminently, we've got some thunderstorms with that daytime heating that have been popping up, and these have been intense, growing pretty quickly. We had a severe thunderstorm warning, which was just expired. The storm itself was weakening a little bit, but what I want to point out about this, these storms started to develop. We get this little rain-cooled air that comes out of the storms. We call it outflow, and it helps new thunderstorms form. So now on the south side of I-20, we've got these thunderstorms that are forming, and they're kind of causing other storms to develop. So if you're south of I-20, whether you're along 75 or 85, you may be hearing those rumbles of thunder a little bit longer outside. Here's where the warning was in Bucks County. That storm is weakened a little bit. It's pushing off towards the east. But in Henry County, that's where things are most intense right now. We could see some gusts of 40 miles per hour. There's no warning on it, but this is kind of pushing off to the east. So a lot of cloud to ground lightning over McDonough up to Stockbridge as well, and even into parts of northern Clayton County. We've also got some of that cloud to ground lightning and heavy rainfall there just south of the airport. We're waiting to see if we can get 0.11 inches of rain today at the airport to push us up to number 3 all-time wettest July here on record. Big picture, you can also see some thunderstorms, some little pockets of heavy rain between Newton and also heading to the south there into Meriwether County. A little shower there just south of Monroe, but to the north, it's been all about the heat today. Not as much in the way of thunderstorms. Now, we've got these storms heading southeast down into central and southern Georgia, but this is just one of many storm complexes that are developing along the outskirts of this big heat dome. And we have been kind of on the outskirts of that the last couple of days, allowing for more storminess across North Georgia. As we get into the end of the week, that heat dome is going to push a little closer to us, and that's going to allow for fewer thunderstorms and a lot more heat. So the storms right along the outside of it, in the center of that, we don't see any in the way of storms, but we see really intense heat. So you notice here, big picture, here's all the heat advisories and excessive heat warnings in effect today and into tomorrow. And for us tomorrow, the heat advisory will now be included in all of the metro area except for the North Georgia mountains, so everybody else in North Georgia. So we've got our weather impact alert again for tomorrow, and we've issued one for Friday because we expect the excessive heat, excessive humidity to make it feel like it's above 105. For tomorrow, the heat advisory runs from 10 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock in the evening. It's the first day of school for a lot of school systems in the county. Kids are going to be on school buses. Some of them don't have AC. They're going to be outside for recess. Little kids, their body's natural air conditioning, the science of sweating, doesn't work as effectively as a normal adult does. So that's why we're issuing a weather impact alert for tomorrow and for Friday. Stay hydrated, send the kids out the door with water bottles in the morning, and take breaks to be in the AC. I would recommend not doing recess outside if it's after 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Here's why. Forecast track hour by hour. We've got the temperatures for the bus in the morning, mid-70s. Sun comes up, 6:50 tomorrow morning. Those temperatures start climbing. The feels like temperatures start climbing. By 10 o'clock, it's already feeling like it is in the 90s outside. We push that forecast track out into noon. These are the heat index values already in the triple digits. Late in the afternoon, we'll see the triple digit feels like temperatures all the way up until about sunset. But with tomorrow's forecast, I expect fewer in the way of thunderstorms. Forecast track this evening, those storms on the south side keep pushing out of our area. Stray shower overnight, not as many of us will see the rain as what we saw yesterday evening. We get into tomorrow morning, it's a dry start. Then with that heating of the day building, a few isolated showers and thunderstorms will be likely in the afternoon. So again, tomorrow we'll start off in the 70s in the morning, high of 96 tomorrow afternoon with a 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms. You see the red color on the 7-day forecast tomorrow and Friday. Those are our 11Alive weather impact alerts. We expect the heat to back off a little bit this weekend, still in the 90s with a few isolated storms. And next week, watching the tropics with isolated storms here closer to home. Andrew?
And Melissa, we continue to be under a red alert here for traffic because we have a big incident here on the I-675 corridor. This is going to be heading in the southbound lanes. Northbound lanes, not as much of a concern, but in those southbound lanes, that's where we had that truck fire just a few hours ago that has shut down the areas north of Rex Road. Again, southbound lanes, looks like they flipped the camera around for us, but you see nobody coming down the southbound lanes. A few cones there as they're trying to at least get one lane open, but they still have that overturned portion of the truck, the back of the truck that has been burned up, and they are still working to kind of get things cleared up. You saw it there for a moment ago as GDOT kind of flips the camera around there. Remember, the best way to get around this is to take I-75, head on over there to I-75 down I-285, or take Highway 23 down.
All right, Andrew, thank you. Well, training camp in the NFL, it is hard enough as it is. Long days, little sleep, and overnight storms in the area actually caused the facility to lose power.
Our Maria Martin was in Flowery Branch with the team and shares how they had a successful practice after a few bumps in the road.
We walk around the building with like a healthy state of rage, underlying rage, if that makes sense, that like, we got to be better. How can we be better? It's not good enough. I'm not good enough.
Even in year 13 of his NFL career, Kirk Cousins constantly striving to get better. Day 2 of pads here at Flowery Branch in training camp. It did get off to a little bit of a bumpy start. The power went off overnight at the facility, and the players, they were given the option to go home. Now, many of the veterans, they decided to leave and get some rest in the air conditioning, but the rookies, they stayed behind without air conditioning overnight.
Yeah, I went home. I wasn't gonna sit through the hot dorms.
I went home. I'm not gritty enough to stay in the no air conditioning. I probably could have, Staff was just awesome. I woke up this morning and we had messages saying, hey, here's the plan, here's what we're going to do, here's how we're course correcting. A lot of people serving, jumping in to help to make sure that, the day could still be very productive, which it has been.
Now, despite the overnight unexpected pivot, the guys continue to get some good work in with team drills and one-on-ones. Right in the middle of the second week, Cousins is working to make sure that the, quote, perception around the offense becomes a reality.
Perception right now is that our offense is going to be really, really great. We got all these great players, and I just think that's only perception. And it's our job, like today, working to make it reality. And until we go do it, I don't really feel any assurance from that.
Another positive update when it comes to Kirk's ankle. He said that not only did it feel really good when he took off running during a 2-minute drill this morning, he said he's never seen an opposing sideline, his defensive teammates in this case, cheer as much as they did for him in that moment. In Flowery Branch, covering the Falcons, Maria Martin, 11Alive Sports.
Well, it's day 2 of Hank Aaron Week, and it featured the unveiling of a forever stamp in honor of the Braves baseball legend. Billy Aaron, Hank's wife, shared a message about her husband from Romeo and Juliet at today's event at Truist Park.
But certainly, Juliet said Romeo was a very, very special person in her life. And I want to say that Hank Aaron was a very, very special person in my life. And without him, I certainly would not be standing here today. But I am happy to stand here.
We love Billy Aaron, and the Hank Aaron Forever Stamp is available at USPS.com and at post offices nationwide.
As Georgians compete in the 2024 Paris Games, we are not only looking to catch them in action, but also the people who support the athletes. 11Alive's Faith Jesse introduces us to some Atlanta fans in Paris.
Well, during our time out here in Paris, we are here, of course, to cover Georgia's athletes competing in the games, but we're also catching up with some people who are sitting in the stands and came all the way from Atlanta to watch the games. I caught up with Kirk Brown and Jamie Downs at the Roland Garros Tennis Center.
My name is Kirk Brown. Jamie Downs. So I'm here in Paris for the Olympics as an Airbnb host advisory board member.
Paris is just a beautiful city. The culture, the people, so nice, so welcoming.
Favorite sport, definitely tennis. I'm only here for a few days, so I got to catch what I can. So we're going to get out there and watch Coco Golf make some magic.
I'm going up to Lille, France on Saturday to watch the USA women's basketball team. I went to University of South Carolina. Going to go see Asia Wilson dominate. Very excited about that. I think that Paris is a little bit different just because I think, one, it's an international city, and Atlanta became an international city after the Olympics. What I'll also say is that Paris has done a really good job of making, I think the Olympics a little bit more sustainable. So it's a little bit different, things a little bit more spread out. I mean, you see the athletes sleeping on the cardboard beds.
Look, everyone says Atlanta influences everything, so it's no surprise that they are here in Paris, competing on the highest stage, representing our country, and most of all, Atlanta, Georgia. So it just feels amazing, here to support them and here to just enjoy all the experiences and the vibes.
Well, here's some happy news for some of you. The Pink Pig is heading back to Atlanta for this year's Georgia Festival of Trees. The pig-themed train ride is a beloved Atlanta holiday tradition that goes all the way back to 1953, started by Riches. And this new version will debut at the festival's opening night gala on November 22nd. This year, it will carry riders through the array of Christmas trees, wreaths, and centerpieces at the festival. The festival will run from November 22nd through December 1st. Tickets will be available on the festival's website. All right,
And your weather impact alert here going forward is for heat across North Georgia. But with the heat also comes some thunderstorms. Some of those storms right now are along I-75 south of the city, traveling through Clayton and Henry counties. Tomorrow and into Friday, weather impact alerts, temperatures in the 90s.
All right, before we go, we do want to point out some programming changes. The Olympics are preempting 11Alive News weekdays and weekends.
And while the games are on TV, you can get the latest on big local stories and weather 24/7 through our streaming app, 11Alive Plus. During the week, we'll be on each morning from 4:30 to 7 and streaming at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. Then we're back on the air at 6 p.m. and again for 11Alive News at 11 following Olympics in prime time.
And 11Alive is also watching dozens of athletes from Georgia competing. Our Cheryl Preheim and Faith Jesse are in Paris telling their stories. Their reports will be featured during our 2 Olympic specials airing Monday through Saturday. The All Access Pass is at 7 p.m. followed by the Olympic Zone at 7:30.
Thanks so much for being with us. We remember that the news is always on 11alive.com and inside our 11Alive News app.